Last night we had an event up at Stormont, which was very well attended. There was over 150 people there. 99% of them were victims. They were from different parts of Northern Ireland, but the views and opinions were exactly the same. Let them be from South Armagh, from Fermanagh, from Kilkeel, from Londonderry, from Tyrone. The views of the innocent victims was all the same. And I think last night the politicians seen that it's not just fair to saying this, that victims from all around the country, not only South Armagh, but all around the country, are saying the same things about the victims needed to be looked at and looked at properly. I'd like to thank the speakers who came along last night. Colin McDavid from the SDLP, Stephen Farrell from the Alliance Party, Jim Allister from the TUV, Nelson McCausland from the DUP, and Mike Nesbitt from the Unionist Party. But moving on, last night was a brilliant night. It was well received, and I have to thank the politicians who came along. We had somebody from the DUP, we had somebody from the Unionist Party, from the SDLP, from the Alliance, and from Jim Allister's party. Well, Jim Allister himself. And it was chaired by Suzanne Breen. Now, it was at times heated, which is to be expected, but all we're asking here is for people to listen to what we're saying, to listen to the victims. Don't try and talk us down or put us down. Just listen to where we're coming from. And I don't think it's much to ask that people that have suffered the way some of the people last night, and there was 3 ladies spoke at the end, and they said nothing about anything except what had happened to them, how their loved one was murdered. And you couldn't have put the circumstances of the night in better perspective than the 3 stories that were told at the end. And these were 3 people who just felt that moved by the whole going on of the night that they got up and told their story. Just a few minutes, and it actually brought things into perspective. And I would ask the politicians to listen to that and to listen to where we're coming from. That's all we're asking. If we want to move on in this country, you're going to have to deal with the victims first and foremost. And if people didn't see that from last night, I don't know what more we need to do. Moving on to another situation. There is a well, it's not a documentary, it's a play or something taking place tonight in Mullaban, in the Cullen Centre. Basically it's a centre run by Republicans. Now I went up there yesterday and got the brochure of the play. You will see here where it talks about collusion, it talks about the Glenanne gang, it talks about cover-ups, it talks about all these secret files, all this operation that went on in South Armagh from a farmer's house. And the first question I would ask them, where's all the dead bodies in South Armagh? That's the very first question that I would ask. Now remember that the Republicans killed near 400 people in the South Armagh area. The Loyalists, but it was 26 that was killed. But if you look at this here, you would think that the wiped South Armagh out, that all this help that they got, with all this collusion that went on, you would think that all the IRA men in South Armagh were taken out. Now, 26 deaths is 26 too many. But compare that to near 400 carried out by the Republican community. There's a big difference. And you would have to ask yourself, who was colluding with who? When they could carry out that amount of murders and get away with it. The other thing I'd like to say, look who's funding the writing of history here. The very people who stopped our funding, stopped the telling of the stories of the old ladies, like I was told last night, about their son going out to get into his car, and somebody with a hood come up behind him and shot him dead in the back of the head. Or the man that got into his car and was blew to pieces. The woman who lost her two brothers. These people are quite happy, and they can't deny it. This is their logos on this document. They're quite happy to fund this green, white and gold document. And I would say the colours were not chosen by accident. The colours were chosen to represent the community it was meant to target, which is green, white and gold, which stands for the tricolour. William Fraser done 2 political statements on a computer belonging to our project. That was one of the reasons why they stopped our funding. They didn't even fund a computer on that project, but these people seen fit, the European Union and Pobl seen fit to stop our funding. But at the same time, they don't have a problem when it comes to this here. I would ask you, where is the justice in this? And I would also say to the funders that do what you will do, because these people done their worst and we're still here. So the European Union, which seems happy enough to fund terrorist organisations and fund propaganda like this here, and if this is not political, I don't know what is. And Pobl, to be fair to this other crowd here, I don't believe they understand or know what is going on, but these people do. So I would ask you, where is the justice? But this is what people want to portray from the Republican community, that there was some master plan going on in this community. Now the other thing I forgot to mention was there was 46 Roman Catholics killed by the IRA in South Armagh. Who did they collude with? Who did the IRA collude with in killing the 46 Roman Catholics in South Armagh? Whenever we talk about the great collusion that went on between the security forces, it must be the worst case of collusion in the history of any country. And if there was collusion going on, they were certainly the Monty Python show that was involved in it. Because although there's 26 people killed, which is 26 too many, and a number of them were innocent victims, a number of them were also from a Republican background. But if you compare that to the Republican community, who murdered 46 Roman Catholics in South Armagh, this gang that they talk about, they're trying to basically say this gang was the Mid-Ulster UVF. Facts speak louder than words. Fact, 26 Roman Catholics killed in the South Armagh area. 46 Roman Catholics killed by the IRA, and near 400 odd people murdered by the IRA. Now, who do you think, if you were looking at that from the outside, was involved in collusion? Would it be the people that murdered the 26, or the people that murdered the 400? But then again, this is all about writing history. They want to demonise the Protestant Unionist security force people who defended the community. That's what this programme is about. That's what this story is all about. Demonising the UDR and the police. The brave men and women who put on a uniform and went out and defended the community. They want to demonise them as some type of killing machine, when in reality what we're talking about is a myth. And that is what the problem is with the Republican community. They created a myth over this last, not only this last 40 years, but this last 100 years, where they've been allowed to write history and demonise the Unionist Protestant community. Well, no more. We are not going to sit back and allow that to go on. All we want to do is tell our side of the story. And the sooner people waking up to the fact that the IRA and the Republican community is trying to write history here, the better. Because it's not now, it's in 10, 15, 20 years' time, where somebody will open a school book and there'll be a photograph of a UDR man or a policeman or a soldier, and he will be seen as the terrorist. Well, not if we have anything to do with it. The terrorist is the boy who put the hood on and went out and murdered innocent victims and innocent members of the security forces. And I'll say again, I'll go back to the figures again. This document, which looks like you're talking about an operation in the Second World War, with so much cover-up and secret files. In South Armagh there was 26 murders carried out by the loyalist paramilitaries. The IRA carried out 46 murders of the Roman Catholic community. Again, 46 is 46 too many. They carried out 400 murders within the Unionist stroke security force community, which was certainly 400 murders too many. So where was the cover-up? These men never answered for the crimes.